Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a very special day because we are having a chat with the beautiful, inspiring, and one and only Samantha. Samantha is a manifestation coach, and I met her during our certification. And let me tell you, she is a powerhouse, and today we're going to talk about everything related to manifestation, law of attraction. I have gathered many questions. If you want to see the questions, you can go to the timestamps and you can get a little overview of our chat. It ended up being 1 hour long, full with insights and practical tools, and also questions that you might be asking yourself about the law of attraction and manifestation. I can't wait to share all this with you. I'm sending you lots of love and thank you so much for all your support. When I see all your recurring comments, I recognize your usernames, and we are just building such a loving and supportive community here. And I also love to see how you support each other in the Discord and also here on YouTube. So thank you so much for all your support. It really helps me to grow this community and this channel and reach more people who are also just as inspiring as you are. If you're new here, I would like to warmly welcome you to the Mindspaces community. And without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so hello Samantha and welcome on the Mindspaces channel. So great to have you. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Samantha Shamim. I'm 24 years old. So I graduated from Virginia Tech in the United States last year, and then I was kind of lost in what I wanted to do after. I kept like settling and putting myself into these boxes of what I was told was like the right path for my career, but I never really felt passionate about them. And I always felt sad thinking about like I would be excited about things I would be able to do, but I also felt sad because I felt like I was limiting myself so much. And then towards the end of last year / beginning of this year, I realized that the way I was limiting myself, the way I was seeing things that were possible, I realized that wasn't true. I realized there were so many more possibilities because I looked into the law of attraction more. And then once I started doing that, I got my own manifestation coach. I did my own research. And then I came across like different coaching like careers, and then I decided I wanted to become a self-development and manifestation coach to help others with their journey while I'm helping my own journey.
Wow, that's so cool. That sounds really inspiring. Honestly, I can so relate to that. Like, I went to university as well, and I kind of really, I didn't really feel it, and it was also like in search for my own personal development that I really found my way to coaching. And I'm so glad that I did, because it just really feels exactly like the job that I always wanted to have but didn't know existed. So yeah, that's so cool. Maybe there are people who are watching right now who don't really know what the law of attraction is or what manifestation is. Do you have like some sort of definition that you would like to share with them?
Yeah, so I feel like there's like a simple definition, but I feel like there's so much more to it. Like at the very basic level, I would say it's like energy attracts like energy. And energy doesn't just refer, like in school we're taught that like matter is energy, like physical objects, like solids, liquids, gases, but also like our emotions are and thoughts are energy as well. Like for example, the computer or the phone you're watching this on right now, this originally started as a thought in someone's mind, and then it was manifested into physical form. So that's with the law of transmutation, which is one of the universal laws. But basically, so when you're thinking of like energy attracting like energy, your thoughts and like reflect are attracting like energy that aligns with those thoughts. So for example, if I believe in healthy romantic relationships, I'm going to attract healthy romantic relationships. And when you think of the law of attraction, a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, you just have to be positive and happy all the time and then you're going to get everything. But that's not necessarily true, because with our minds, like that's at a conscious level, like trying to control your thoughts and your feelings. But your subconscious mind is 95% of your thoughts and beliefs, and your conscious mind is only 5%. So it really is important that you do deep conditioning to go into your subconscious mind. So yeah, it's like
Right.
before it would be so easy for me to just be like, oh, law of attraction is this, like you just attract what you think about or believe. But there's, because I've been doing so much research, I feel like now I define it as more um attracting like the identity you embody on at a deep level. Yeah, and I feel like even like talking about it now, it's like hard for me to like limit what I'm saying because there's just so much to it. So it's just a little frustrating because I want to say so much more, but I feel like that's such an individual requirement, that I really encourage everyone to do on their own because there's so much more to it than like the simple like attracts like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting what you say. And to be honest, I've never really heard about it like that. You know, I discovered it through The Secret, the book from
Mm-hmm.
Rhonda Byrne, and it was gifted to me by my mom when I was 16. And I read it, and I was very, very skeptical about it, but I kind of was interested as well in all this. And in this book, it's really clearly stated that you should send out love, and that then the image that you visualize and that you feel grateful for and that you feel like you have already is going to come back to you. And so I tried it out and it didn't really work because
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was exactly what you were just talking about. I was skeptical and I didn't really believe it. I guess I wanted to believe it, and that's just not enough, you know. So it's not enough to stand in front of your mirror every single day and say like, oh, I that is what I want. I feel like I have it and I'm sending out love to the universe and to myself and to the situation, and then it's going to come to me. I guess that this is a part of how to practice it, or it could be a part because that's again very individual again. But I feel like it's so much more. There's so much more to this process than just doing that. So thank you so
Right.
much for sharing that with
Yeah,
us.
for sure. And like what you were talking about, like I feel like that is important, but it's like a surface level of like everything you're supposed, or like everything that goes into the law of attraction, trying to use like manifestation consciously. So it is important, but it's like you also have to go deep into your beliefs because 95% definitely would overtake 5% of the conscious stuff you're doing.
Yeah. How did you know that it was real?
So okay, so the like you, The Secret was how I first got introduced to it. I guess like my dad told me a little bit about it before I actually like read the Secret book. So I knew it was real, I think, from seeing my dad's success, because he said how he had this like burning desire to accomplish his goals and he ended up doing it. And then I guess seeing him as an example and then seeing other people's like success stories as well. Like one of my favorite YouTuber influencers is Nabella Noor. Um, and I remember very briefly, like in one of her YouTube videos, like she mentioned a book that changed her life or just like impacted her really deeply was The Secret. And I'm like, huh, she uses that too. So um, I guess one thing I did like in the beginning of this year, because I even though I knew about it, like I was scared to use it because of like some religious like interpretations out here in the communities I grew up in. But then this year I was like, okay, like I can't keep going on my life like settling like this. And if these are possible for other people and nothing bad is happening to them and they're putting out so much good into the world and helping others, like why would it be a bad thing? So I I started like actually reading The Secret book, watching The Secret movie, and then I had a certain amount of money I wanted to manifest. So it was, I believe it was like $270. So I was just thinking about it and I was just like thinking how grateful I am for it. And then I was like cleaning out my room a day or two after that. And then I like started finding money and envelopes I had that I forgot about. And then when I like got the exact amount, it was like 271. So I was like, that I thought that was really freaky and really cool. So I guess that helped my faith in it, and then mainly just like seeing a lot of other people's stories and then like seeing other like smaller ways it shows up in my life, also I guess like physically like with my health, I've been doing a lot of affirmations and trying to like help my subconscious mind. And I noticed like the way I like described like my physical feeling and like physical health and just like even my appearance, I saw like how that's been manifesting like this whole year. And then it's kind of crazy to look at. So I guess like definitely like I feel like it's been more helpful for me in the beginning seeing other people's stories that like helped aid my in belief that it was also possible for me.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. It's so creepy and magical at the same time. Sometimes I feel. I was just thinking, when I really tried it out, it was like I think last year or the year before, and I was like, okay, come on, you gotta get back at it. There's something to it. I had this feeling, and so I was like, okay, so I always struggle to find a parking slot in front of the uni when I go there. So this time I'm just gonna manifest one. And so I got in the car. It was really late, so it's like the worst hour to go and look for a parking spot.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole way there, I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not gonna be late. I'm gonna catch up because I have my parking spot ready, waiting for me right there. And I arrived there and there was no parking spot. I was half an hour late.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, yeah, that's a fail, you know? And so I kind of continued believing in this, in manifestation and manifesting things and by creating vision boards, journaling, and integrating it into my routine. And then I really I saw it take form and really materialize in my life. But when you have these situations where you manifest something and it just doesn't happen, actually, there was a question from the community on Instagram. I don't really remember exactly what it said, so let me find it so that I can read it out. And it said, how to continue to believe in it when it doesn't work, and then in brackets, yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned the parking spot thing because that's like one of the things I usually like have really like a lot of ease in manifesting a parking spot for whatever reason. Um, but like that also reminded me of another story I had, which I guess I'll actually talk about that once I answer or their question. But basically, yeah, this was something that was tough for me at first. And sometimes I still get my doubts, even though I'm like pretty deep in my journey. Definitely seeing that like if it's possible for someone else, what it should be possible for me. So I one thing I that really inspires me is when I see people who had like conditions worse than me who like were able to lift it up to their top and like for example like Oprah, her being able to use it. Ashley Graham, the model, she also used it. And like I said, Nabila Noor, against like all odds, they, despite what society expected or told of them, they've made it so much to the top. They've had so much success. So definitely seeing like even if it feels like it's not working for me right now, I just feel like okay, fine, it's not working for me. And I'm just like letting myself feel that and knowing that I can change that later. But I also try to give myself like the other side, being like, okay, like if it's not real, then how can it be working for other people? So I guess like proof, like whatever proof you have, I definitely encourage like using that to help you like keep your faith that it is real, even if temporarily you're like, okay, but it just for some reason for me, the universe doesn't want to like apply it to me. Because the thing is like, like gravity applies to everyone, everything. And sometimes like, and same with the law of attraction, it applies for everyone as well, because it's just like physics, like it's a law. But there are probably blocks like subconsciously, maybe like deep rooted beliefs you may or may not even be aware that you have right now. Those like looking into yourself and doing like inner work, shadow work, and seeing like what are some limiting beliefs you have, because most likely that's what is blocking things you want. And then another thing, like feeling safe is a huge thing. That's like one of the biggest things that has been a block for me. I used to have this, and I still have this fear, and I'm working on it. Like I'm scared that if I try to manifest something, or I assume that it's like for me, I'm scared it's gonna hurt someone in the process for it to come to me. But I also know that like I can ask and have the intention for it to be for everyone's highest good. So for example, like if I want to manifest an amount of money and I have this fear that it's going to make someone else like lose their money and hurt them financially, I can frame it to like I'm manifesting it in a way that allows me to help someone else. Or like for example, like if I'm a coach trying to get a client, I'm not going to think, oh, I'm being a coach to like steal their money. I'm being a coach because I want to help them and make an exchange, because money is an energetic exchange. So it's like thinking that if that person is investing in themselves energetically by like giving me this $500, then they're doing it because they're showing themselves, they're sending out an energy that they're investing in themselves. So like reframing things. And then also one thing, remember like the surrender aspect, which has been one of the most challenging things for me, like remembering that you're a co-creator with the universe, with God, spirit, whatever you call that force. So it's like letting yourself like give up control and know that like the universe, like there's the collective consciousness, there's the universal consciousness, so and there's you. So it's like maybe the universe is trying to teach you, it's still getting you towards your goal, but it's trying to teach you something in order to like maximize like the best results of your journey. So for one example I love to give for this, it's like if you're trying to manifest a romantic partner, and let's say you're trying to manifest a specific person, which for many reasons I don't recommend manifesting a specific person, but we can get into that another time. But basically, like if you like, okay, it has to be, let's say I'm trying to think of a random name. Let's say I have a crush on someone named Josh. So then I'm like, okay, like I want Josh to be my soulmate. So I'm like trying to like manifest and being like, I'm so grateful he's my soulmate, whatever. But then he keeps like, I'm not satisfied in the relationship, even if it's successfully manifest, or I keep like pushing him away, or he doesn't want anything to do with me regardless. Why would you want something like that for yourself? Like you might think it's good for you in the moment, and it might really feel good in the moment. It might be hard to let go of that like expectation, but there is someone else much better out there for me. And I'm blocked, and the universe knows that. So there's like divine guidance, there's divine knowledge, wisdom in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's difficult to surrender. I really like to be in control and act and see things like transparently, if I might say so. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and it's really interesting, this idea of surrendering, because like but now I had a question and I forgot it, but I'm going to think about it again. Oh yeah, oh, it came back. So when you do that, this manifestation and the law of attraction, do you think that it's like fair that everyone on earth, no matter who they are and where they live, do you think that they have like the same odds of changing their lives through manifestation?
So that's one thing I struggle to like come to terms with, because I'm not always a fan when people say that like you attract all the good and bad things that happen to you, because like there are people do horrible things to other people, and then I don't like this like victim, it feels like victim blaming to me. So I feel like law of attraction manifestation, like it's possible for anyone and everyone to use it to like help themselves, but I also like recognize that like a lot of people are blocked from that knowledge, whether it's like people who know it trying to block other people from finding out about it because of like an ego reason, or like people are just in areas where like they don't have access to that knowledge. So I feel like the more people who do have access to that knowledge with good intentions know about it and like strive and use it to serve them their own self-development, are able to like spread that knowledge more and make it more and more known.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. And I think that, it's like, as you said, some horrible things can happen, and it's not really, I think, you who manifested that into your life. So it's not like your fault. And then you kind of attracted this with some like energy. I think
Right.
that's some sort of circumstances of lives that all of us face in some way or another. And
Right.
also, I think that, it's true that people have very different challenges and very different environments and very different starting points in their lives. And I think that manifestation or law of attraction can help anyone in any situation. So maybe at first the outcome might look different. For example, if I compare what I am able to manifest to today to what, let's say, who did you mention before who uses the law of attraction as well?
Annabella Noor.
Yeah, for example, what they manifest is completely different to what I manifest. I manifest a parking spot, or I manifest maybe my first $200 in my business, and they manifest something, I don't know, a Lamborghini or something way bigger that I can't even really think of, or I would at this point probably not have such an easy access to, but who knows, of course.
I feel like eventually, there's also something I heard about. It was called like I think it's called the ladder of belief, or something like similar to that. I'll have to find, but it was basically saying like, or ladder of believability. So it's like at first, like maybe like when I start on my journey, I'll be like, oh, it's impossible for me to like have this dream house and this dream city I want to live in. But then I'm like, okay, but let's see like what might be a little more believable for me. So maybe like manifesting like this like this luxury apartment, or maybe like even a regular apartment, because like if I have a limiting belief that I'm not able to like afford living on my own because I'm not capable of that. So if I'm like, okay, like I'm capable enough to get this job, I can manifest this job. Okay, awesome. And then that gives me money to live on my own in this apartment, which is safe and nice, but it's not like the luxury apartments I wanted. And then after that, I'm like, okay, if I could manifest these two things, I could manifest this level up. So then it's like climbing that, and then like seeing more and more of what's possible and being able to believe it more and more, because it's kind of like a muscle.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That is really, I've never thought about it that way, but it makes a lot of sense. Do you think that that when someone climbs this ladder of beliefs, that it changes these people? So, like, I don't know if in English this saying exists, like money changes people. Do you think that when you essentially climb this ladder of belief, when you suddenly realize that actually you can have it all, do you think that it's like changing you as a person, who you are?
I feel like it's making you more like, considering you have like good intentions and you're using your success for good. I actually think it brings you closer to who you are. Because like in our, at least like from what I've learned, and like I'm opening to learning about like different like theories and beliefs about this. But basically, like my understanding is that we're all souls and having a human experience in human bodies, and our souls know who we are. Like our highest selves are like who we actually are. But as like when we're babies, like we come into this world like crying and being like, voicing our opinions as little kids, and like without shame. And then as we get older, we're told like, you can't be like this, you're supposed to be like this. And then, oh, this is like your dream career, like you want to be a princess, you want to be a queen, you want to be like a famous actor, etc. That's impossible for you. Like that's like only lucky people get that. But in reality, these things are divinely placed within us, and like the most successful versions of ourselves are who we really are. So it's more about like remembering yourself than like changing yourself, I feel like. And with that being said, like sometimes like people's egos can take over, where they think, oh, like I'm successful, so now like I have all this power. So whether they use it for good or bad, like that's up to them. But if they're like, I feel like if people are embodying their most authentic selves, like it's more about coming closer to their souls, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so too. I've thought about this because it's like some sentence that I heard a lot, like that money changes people, and that it's kind of evil, and this kind of things. And
Yeah.
I believe that it's not really true. I think that money is an energy and it's a tool that people can get in order to do what it is that they wanted to do anyways. So I think that it's more like giving them an asset to use to become who they want to become and who they actually are, because what you want for yourself is a reflection of your yourself in some way.
Right.
So
Yeah. The
yeah.
money being evil concept is like, it's just such a common thing. Like, yeah, like I think I haven't I or it's this idea that you have to choose between making a lot of money and being happy. Cause it's like
Mm.
always this notion that money means you're being artificial, but it's like there's nothing wrong with, like, you know, like you were saying, it's an asset. Like you can use it to help
Mm-hmm.
people, and when you're helping yourself, you're able to help other people. I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day. She was saying, actually, I'm trying to think of like what I can talk about in this conversation for privacy reasons. But basically, like I was talking to her about how, like, when you're serving yourself the best, you're able to serve others the best. Like for example, like I if you're a mom and you're staying in a marriage that you're not happy in because you want the good for your kids, like your kids are actually seeing that you're not happy, and that
Mm.
maybe they're seeing that like true love isn't real, and just like or that you have to like sacrifice yourself and sacrifice your dreams. So you think you're doing something good for your kids, and like it could be well intentioned for sure, but then like your kids are also like getting these like limiting beliefs in their subconscious, so then when they grow up, they end up limiting themselves as well. On the other hand, if they see that their mom is putting herself first and then allowing herself to leave a situation she's not happy in, and also to go after her dreams and be successful in whatever way that means for her, and they see it's happy, they're going to see, and maybe even if she attracts her soulmate, they'll be like, oh, like true love is real. Oh, like my mommy is so cool, like she is able to live her dreams, and look, that means that's the normal for us too, you know, like
Mm.
it's, and money definitely helps with that. So like inherently money is neutral, so it's like depending on the meaning you give it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think that almost everything is kind of neutral. I mean, like life events now, or objects that we have, we are just attributing it meaning and giving it some meaning. And I think it's also important that we give meaning to things, because that way we know what is good for us and what is not
Right.
good. So I think it's just very important to question the meaning that sometimes is given to a certain thing, and really ask yourself whether it's your meaning or the meaning of someone else. So
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
you have beautifully explained this idea. Thank you so much. So I wanted to ask you um, whether like you have a go-to manifestation practice that you like most to do.
So in the beginning, I tried like writing, like scripting is one of the things that really gets me excited, and using vision boards. And I tried like just feeling like something was already mine, but I was feeling a lot of resistance towards it. Because I think I kept feeling not safe to do that for some reason. And then also I kept feeling like it was forced.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized like it was because I was trying to just do it from a conscious level. So the things that help me most is like im- looking at my identity and trying to like construct my identity as like this person who does X, Y, and Z. So instead of trying to be like, use the techniques like the 369 method, and um, just like all the affirmations. Like I do affirmations, but basically my primary thing is like my identity, and being like, I like, before I have like a six-figure business, for example, I'm like, I am the CEO of a six-figure business, and trying to do like the all the subconscious things.
Yeah. What is the 369 method?
Yeah, so it's basically and I know it works for a lot of people, and if it works for you, definitely use it. But basically you take a piece of paper or journal, and in the, let's say you're trying to manifest a specific thing. So let's say I'm trying to manifest $500. At the beginning of the day, I like in the morning, I write, I am so grateful that I manifested $500. So you write it 3 times, and then like in the afternoon you write it 6 times. At nighttime you write it 9 times.
Okay. I need to
Yeah.
try that out. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it out again. I've used it before, but I think because I didn't have like I was like low on my ladder of believability. I was trying to do things that were like way up top, and because I haven't done like a lot of subconscious programming, and I was just like not really believing it was possible for me in the first place, it wasn't working. But when I did it for smaller things, there have been like 1 or 2 things that worked.
Yeah, awesome. So what would you say could someone expect from working with a manifestation coach such as you are?
Yeah, I think with coaching in general, like it's important to know that coaching is supposed to empower you to find your answers and what you want. It provides you information, but the work ultimately is on you. And it's a lot of times I feel like there's this expectation that coaches are going to do the work for you with certain cases, but that's disempowering for you. But in reality, it's to give you support and guide you. So ultimately, like you're so capable, like you have all the answers inside you. So it's important to know that this is helping you get in touch with yourself, and this isn't to like idolize the coach. The coach isn't there to be worshipped. um so definitely like knowing that firsthand. And then second, I feel like there isn't like a universal approach to manifestation coaching. Like people might have like there might even be conflicting beliefs like between one coach versus another. um but knowing also like your coaches are also imperfect people, and they know what they're talking about. But like when you see how like you don't have to be this perfect like manifester, you don't have to be this perfect person who's like happy all the time. um like just knowing that they're going to be pretty authentic and genuine about that. And they're very like passionate about actually helping you if you find the right coach, for sure. So definitely like read reviews when you get the chance. And then definitely if there are discovery calls, like get on those to get a feel of if you'll be a good fit for the coach, if the coach will be a good fit for you. Because also like don't just find the first coach unless you feel really called to it, who you hear about. Like look at different coaches, because everyone has a unique like way of communicating and unique things to offer. So yeah, it's very like, and it's kind of hard to answer this because it's like people have like different ways of coaching. But definitely the common thing is like genuine coaches, like they'll really be here for you to succeed, and they're really here to empower you.
Yeah, yeah, love that. And I have absolutely the same experiences. Like, I also went on several discovery calls when I was looking for a coach. And yeah, I found one where I really knew for some reason, yes, this is going to be my coach. So, and I'm so glad that I did and that I just took the time to really see what is out there and see who I am getting along best with. So, yeah, that's really true. That's really true.
Yeah. And it's really important to also like feel safe with the coach you're with. Maybe if there are like specific values that are important to your specific like areas that are most important to you that you want the coach to be aligned with or on the same page about, definitely do your research on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you ever worked with a coach?
Yeah. So my coach's name is Kat Kozad. So I worked with her. I signed up for a program back in February, March. And basically her structure was she had a course, and then with different modules that opened each week. And then there were inner work prompts. I think there may have been meditations. I can't quite remember. At least there were links to meditations. And then she has like weekly group coaching calls, which even though I finished the course, like I still go to those group calls because I'm able to learn from other ladies in the program. And also like if I have a question, I'm still able to learn from her. So yeah, I really liked her program still, because she's a great listener, and she also gives she's also like really able to give good perspective or guide you to having a perspective on whatever situation you're trying to deal with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds really great. And I'm so glad that you found a coach that you really vibe with. That's really important. Um, I wanted to ask you another question that I again forgot. That's the problem when I don't take notes.
Oh, good. They have to do with
Oh yeah.
coaching or
No, with manifestation. So, you know, I was often wondering when I'm manifesting something about how long it takes and whether the duration of how long it takes depends on me not manifesting hard enough, or if it's just the time the universe needs to put things into place.
right.
What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think so. Definitely when you put pressure on stuff, it makes it like go away from you more. Like if there's like, I mean, with desire, for example, have you heard of Aaron Dowdy?
No, I haven't.
He's one of my favorite like spiritual YouTubers. But like definitely check out his videos. He's really good with stuff. He was talking about how like on the emotional scale of like the vibrational stuff, like with desire, it's actually, even though it's like a good thing, it's really close to anxiety. And it's because like a lot of times when you have a desire for something, like it could be really close to you like feeling a lack of it, so you're like sending out this vibration of lack, that oh my god, why don't I have this thing? Like for example, if I'm trying to manifest like a husband or a soulmate, I'm like, oh my god, like why am I still single? Then you're like feeling that frustration is being sent out. So it's like getting to a place where you feel like with the divine timing, like surrendering to that, and also like just always working on yourself and putting yourself first. That's really important. But I'm trying to like think of a good way to answer this because I'm trying to figure out my own thoughts about this. Yeah, I think usually when you don't, okay, so divine timing is always there. Whenever you're in touch with the divine, or like God, universe, whatever you call it. But I think you're also not necessarily being tested, but there's always like signs, or like whenever you have a sign of a feeling of resistance, it's because there's something that the universe is trying to tell you, like to look into. So if you don't have it yet, it's because you have something to work on, or the universe is still arranging like whatever, like external factor or like internal external factors to bring that thing to you. So for example, if I'm trying to manifest my soul, like this is like I would like to hear like different interpretations, but if I'm trying to manifest my soulmate, and let's say like I'm completely ready and open to manifest them, or like to have them come into my physical reality, maybe that person isn't ready yet. So maybe like yeah, so maybe I have to wait on that, or maybe there's another thing that just came into my head that just flew away. um, or maybe like, but the thing is like, even if that person isn't ready yet, the universe is trying to prepare them to be ready to meet me. Or um but the thing is like, because I'm already like, I'm not having that like, oh my god, like why is this person not in my life yet, like I'm not thinking about it, and I'm like happy enough like being single where I am. So then maybe that person will come when I least expect it. Like, or okay, there's this also other thing, like the law of polarity, where it's like a lot of times like when you have like really bad days, it's like a representation of like the good days you could have, because you know like the whole thing with the 11th, like giving up at the 11th hour and then your manifestation comes up, like it could be one of those things too. I don't, there's like, I'm still trying to figure like my stance on this, but I feel like at the end of the day, like divine timing is of essence, and it's important to be happy where you are, like even if you don't have the desired thing yet.
Yeah. That's my big Achilles tendon, if I might say so. I am super impatient, and that's like, if you ask any of my friends what is like the one weakness of Kate, they will all say immediately it's impatience. Like if they if it's my birthday or a few days before my birthday and they tell me that they got me a present, I get so annoying. I can't stop asking what is it, guessing what it is. I go there at midnight on the morning of my birthday to get it, so that's me, and so it's difficult,
Yeah.
surrendering to
Oh
the
yeah.
law of attraction when you are like this.
Right.
So,
No, patience is like, I feel like maybe with the birthday gifts, for example, for me, like I'll be excited about them, but I think that's like I can like still wait, even though I'd be like jittery and like, what is it? What is it? But I think with like other things, what I would often do is like, because I'm so impatient about like my business and things like that, I'll like start procrastinating, be like, oh my God, like I think subconsciously, like, I can't have it yet. So like I think sometimes I'm like trying to like end up procrastinating because I don't want to deal with the feelings of impatience. But that's
yeah.
something I've gotten a lot better at, because I'm like, I know it's like for me because it's the desire that's in my heart, and trying to like find ways to like enjoy it in other ways. So for example, like if I'm like, I also realizing that like if I'm trying to like make things happen all the time, like because I'm so impatient, I might be pushing it further away. So trying that's
Mm.
like one of the it's like even hearing that like it helps, but it's still like the feelings are still there. So what I try to do, I guess, I try to like do things that I just enjoy being in the moment. So if I feel like, oh, I have to work on my business all day, like that's not sustainable, because I have to like, I have to make sure I'm resting, or giving my brain a break to just be,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Do you know about like the masculine and feminine polarities?
No, I don't know, but it sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And like when I started learning about that, it started being making a lot more sense to me. It's like the masculine is basically like doing all the time, and feminine is just like being.
Oh
Yeah, and like
yeah, the
it,
yin and the yang. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah, and like it doesn't have to do with like if you're like your gender identity or with like
Mm.
your sex. Like everyone has female and feminine and masculine energies. So
Yeah.
like there has to be a balance of both in order to like
Mhm.
achieve what you're trying to do. So like you have to give in order to receive in order to give. You have to like surrender in order to like you have to like be still in order to like be active. You have to be active in order to be still, things like that. So when I started understanding that more, and before I used to trigger, and sometimes it still triggers me because of the ways people will talk about like feminine versus masculine. There's sometimes like the way people talk is like really sexist, and I'm like they
Yeah.
think they're not being sexist, but I mean to me it's just like it it's just it can be really triggering. So it's important for me to like see the like sources that are empowering,
Hmm.
for any gender, but anyway. So when I understood that, I'm like, okay, if I want to be able to like manifest my business and I want to be able to do all the things, I also have to make sure I'm taking care of like my mental health and making sure I'm still being social with my friends and not staying in my room all day, because that's something I'd been doing for a bit and it wasn't sustainable. And then when I do end up like allowing myself to just enjoy things with my friends, or just allow myself to like maybe relax and read a book for pleasure, then I'm able to be even more productive.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I've worked on my impatience, and what really, really helps me is mindfulness. So, to really just slow down and focus on the here and the now.
Hmm.
And it really, really helps me because my mind is constantly in the future. And this causes, like, I think, at least it feels like it, the kind of drive and also a little bit of anxiety to get
Right,
there immediately, because I focus so much on the outcome that that's the
right,
only thing that I see, and then I forget everything else. so,
right,
so yeah, it has helped me a lot to just calm down and yeah, just stop being so impatient. So I'm really working on it, and it's been very efficient. I would never have thought that a simple thing
right,
like mindfulness could change so much. So yeah,
right. Yeah.
so
And there was
powerful.
something, right. There was something else regarding this I really wanted to, oh, okay. Yeah. And time, like time is a construct, like, which is crazy to think about, because like whatever happens, like it already exists. Like your future, our future, like our past, it exists, even though like in the present, like we're in the present, but those things still exist. So it's just a matter of like getting to that perception of time, if that makes sense. So it's like already yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I think it's so interesting. I'm like so torn between these beliefs, whether fate is something that is
Mm-hmm.
real and that you could just surrender and float to your destiny, or if you really have the power to turn things around. And
Right.
the thing is, like, maybe your fate was to turn things around, so we will never know. I mean, I kind of like thinking about having the power to do things and to change your destiny in some way. Or maybe it's like, maybe you have these books too where you read a story and then you can choose between two outcomes, and then it says like a different page number, and so you can
Oh, right.
have like a book with four different endings. Maybe it's
Right.
like we have several fates, and at some point our decision kind of take us to another fate. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, that's something that I think about too. Like how much of fate is like, how much do we really understand it? And like how much is it like predetermined versus not? Or is it already predetermined by the divine because the divine knows what we're gonna choose?
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's really, really philosophical. But I think about it a lot, especially now that
Yeah.
I'm like more, I wouldn't say that I have reached my spiritual awakening at all, but I might be on the path towards it in the
Mhm.
far future or
Right.
far near future. I don't know. But yeah,
Right.
and I have to say that it's really interesting. But I think that it's really important to, whatever it is that you believe, to not let yourself be disempowered by any of it. So that's,
Mhm.
I think, my bottom line of all this is that I still do my best and I still step into my power and decide to have a choice and take action. So
Right.
yeah.
And always taking things with a grain of salt too, because a lot of times, like, when they're like people who are like authorities or like famous, a lot of times like there will be so many people that will like agree with what they say, but it might not really sit right with you. But then it's also confusing because it's like, if it how can it, like, is it me that's wrong because like there's so many people agreeing with that? But if you also look at it, it's like, but there's also, on the other hand, there's still a lot of people who also are with you that don't agree with it. So it's so important to be like true to yourself and like know that it's safe and okay for you to question things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Also,
so agree with you. Like
and,
today, I was filming a kind of workshop for my empowered student course. I have like an online course, and it was supposed to be alive, and it was alive, but during our live we were so few students that we ended up doing a coaching instead.
okay.
And so we ended up discussing things that are really precise and in relation to these persons lives, and so I could put it in the replay because it was amazing, but you can't show this to the world. So I decided to make a kind of webinar pre-recorded. And so in this webinar, we were like doing some journaling, and I just really realized that I told the audience to write on the top of their paper for the session today, "I am right," in very big letters, underline it, surround it, and then we can get into it, because that's the beauty of personal journeys and personal development. It is that you are right, and maybe you will change your mind, maybe not. But in the moment where you are right now, the way that you feel is the right way to feel for you. So yeah, I think it's a really awesome thing, because who doesn't like to be right in some sense? So,
Yeah, and what's right for one person might be wrong for someone else and vice versa. And it's like, coming to terms with that and knowing that doesn't mean like you're any less valid or that the other person's any less valid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to ask you one last question. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm still launching my business. I'm working on the legal stuff right now, but I'm really excited when it actually does launch. For now on Instagram, my handle is love from Samantha _. And yeah, that's where like all my manifestation related stuff and my business related stuff I'll be updating. But yeah, usually on there for now, before I launch my business, I'm just posting about like lessons I've learned or like inspiring quotes and inspiring reminders to like empower others.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I will put everything in the description down below. So you can go there, click and follow and check out and read everything. And yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and answering all my questions, sometimes difficult, philosophical, and weird ones.
No, thank you so much for having me. Is there time for me to share a story?
Yes, of course. Of
Okay,
course.
so this came up when I was I forget which question it was, but it reminded me of an answer I might have to one of the questions where you asked like how to like what made me like believe in law of attraction. So this is just one of many stories. So like you know when things happen in life where you can't really explain like how they happen, like there isn't like a logical explanation, but it's like freaky and like really awe-inspiring. um so basically this is a 5-minute journal. I don't know if you've heard of it, but basically, if you haven't heard of it, there's a nice introduction kind of talking about like the psychology behind like why it's organized the way it is. And it even talks about the law of attraction. But basically, in the morning, you're supposed to write, I am grateful for 3 things, what would make today great, 3 things, and then daily affirmations. And then at the bottom part, at nighttime, it is 3 amazing things that happened today, and then how could I make today even better. So basically I knew about this journal because I knew some people I looked up to used it, so I was thinking I wanted to get it soon. And I was also thinking about how it's like $25, which is more expensive than I'm used to for journals, but I still wanted to get it. So then one day I was in the house for too long and I just really needed to get out. So I went in my car. I had no idea where I was going. I just like needed to get out of the house. So then as I'm driving, I'm thinking about this journal before I ever get it. And then all of a sudden I get this urge to go into downtown. So I'm like, I don't, and then I start feeling a little anxious about going into downtown because I don't know, sometimes like spontaneous stuff would like make me a little nervous, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. So I go there. I find a perfect parking spot, like right in front of this store called Paper Source, which has like stationery, journals, and like all these other things. And I'm like, oh, I parked right in front of this store. I should go inside it because they have a lot of cool stuff. And I love journaling and writing and all that stuff. And I was at that same store 2 weeks ago and they didn't have like the 5-minute journals at all. Yeah, so I walk into this store not expecting like this to be there at all. There's a huge pile of 5-minute journals in front of me. And then um like I also find I have a coupon for $10 off, and I also like donated $10 like 2 days before. So it was, and then I ended up getting this journal for like $15 instead of 25. So I just thought that was really cool because it's like because a lot of times with intuition, like a lot of times like I'd have a hard time believing it was like a real thing, but literally that's what led me there. So I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. That's really, really inspiring. Now I have one question about your story because you mentioned the intuition coming through. Um, for some people, it's really hard to connect their intuition. For me, it was as well at first. And how do you manage to kind of hear, feel, or see these impulses come through?
Right. This is something I'm still trying to learn how to get more in touch with my intuition. Because my thing is like I have trouble separating like what is my intuition versus like is my body, my ego just trying to like protect me. um I don't know, I feel like a lot of times when my intuition comes, it's like when I'm not like trying to be like intuition like guide me, it's more like it's more like when I don't have that pressure of like I have to have the answer. Like when I heard of this journal, like when I was led to getting it, I think I just let myself like be in a peaceful state where I'm like everything's gonna be okay, and then it comes in. So, or when I don't get too attached to something. So this journal, I guess I wasn't like super attached to it. Um, like another time, I guess like when I can recall with my intuition was when I was driving to the grocery store one night, and then I had this vision for some reason of me like running into someone I knew who had hurt, like done something that I felt hurt by, and like confronting them. And then I like got that image. I'm like, why am I thinking of this? Like, and I like erased it out. Like I wasn't attached to it or anything.
Mm.
I go to this store. I'm like walking across it, and then I see that person, and I forget about this like vision, and I end up confronting them doing like what I saw in the vision. And then I realize, oh my goodness, like I did, like didn't I literally thought of this. So I guess like when I'm not too attached to it, I'm like, this could happen, but it's also okay if it doesn't. I think that's maybe like when I don't feel too anxious about
Mm.
it. Yeah, like that's a I'm still trying to figure out how to answer that because that's something I'm still figuring out. I'm definitely not an expert on yet.
Maybe we will talk again and we will have the answer.
Right? Maybe. Yeah. Do you have any ways for yourself?
um, I practice it a little bit with meaningless things. So, for example, by pulling oracle cards, where
Mm,
it's the same, like I just lay them and I kind of allow myself, as you said, to remove the pressure of having
right,
the answer, because
right.
when I pull oracle cards, it kind of reminds me we had like oral exams at university, and
Mm,
we had like the cards, and you pull your topic, and then if it's going to be a great exam or if it's going to be freaking hell. So
oh,
so I kind of still have this ingrained feeling when I do that, and I'm like, no, it's okay, whatever you pull, there's no right, there's no wrong. And so yeah, I practice that, and also I'm practicing mindfulness again has helped me so much. Mindfulness has changed my life. It's like, I would say it was like one of the most transformative thing ever, because it solved so many problems. I mean, they're not solved, but it helped me so much, like navigate my impatience. Also, I was extremely clumsy, because I was like really like tunnel vision. I'm
mm,
doing this. This is going to be the outcome. Let's do it. And I was like running over everything that was standing in my way,
right,
literally. So it's like really just allowing myself to be there and not think about the future. This
right,
also helps me to connect to my intuition in some way, because it's like just eliminating all the noise around of
right,
what mistakes did I do, what do I want, and just be here and now. And yeah,
right.
so
Yeah,
that
maybe
helped
I
me.
should try using the cards. I think I've been like skeptical about them before, but maybe I should give it a chance and see how it works for
Yeah,
me.
I actually love this deck. I mean, it's really um, personal, of course, but I really love this one. It's
Ooh,
like the
pretty.
Work Your Light.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah, I really like this one, and there are no really negative cards, so that's, that's also good, Like, I like
Yeah,
that. It's reassuring
yeah.
for beginners, maybe.
I think it really does come down to us like trusting yourself and like also know like trusting the divine or whatever higher power if that's what you're choosing to do. Because I think for me a lot of things also with like religion stuff like um there'd always be like religious, and I know this isn't just like confined to one religion, it can be a common thing, but when they're leaders sometimes they're saying like this is bad, this is like if you do this, this is you're gonna go to hell or and things like that. So it's like I think I felt like I couldn't trust myself like or my
Mm.
intuition because I felt like doing that was something bad. um so I think after I started getting over that, then I've been able to like tap into it more and more, but definitely still on a journey with that.
Yeah. Yeah. But the journey is so great. I love it. Like, I really embrace it now, like even with the
Right.
growth of my business, for some reason I'm not so impatient about that. It was a big surprise to myself as well. I was like, oh, what? This is not typical. But yeah, I really, honestly, I love it. Like, I have a pretty small community on YouTube, so if you're watching, hi, thank you. So, but I really love it because we really have the time to chat. I can reply to every single comment. I know the usernames. I kind of feel like we get the opportunity to connect, and that's such an amazing privilege of the process, of the journey. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. And I guess like even as much of like the journey I still have to go on with my intuition, like I know that I'm supposed to be doing this stuff. Cause I think like looking at my life, like when I was in college, like I went in thinking I had to be like a doctor in order to be successful. Like that was the only, and like it's amazing when people are doctors if that's what they want to do. But the thing is, I felt like I had to do that, or I had to do something because someone else expected that of me. But then I like ended up changing not my religion, my major to religion and culture and political science. And then I think at the core of it, it was always me trying to figure out like, how can I, like, what's the meaning of life? And then how can I like create community through that? And then like after I graduated, I was led to like, oh, like I'm meant to be a coach because this just felt so natural to me. And it's because I know it's my intuition that was telling me this all along.
Yeah, that's like literally my life. So I can completely resonate with that. You know, like I went to medical school because my parents and grandparents and everyone I know is a doctor, and that's what they wanted for me. And from a place of love.
Exactly.
It's fine, you know, like they wanted me to be safe and have a great job. And let's be honest, it's a nice job. It's great. I mean, you can save lives and things like that. But
it's very honorable.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's fine. And but exactly as you said, it's great if it's what you really want to do.
Right.
So yeah, I just feel like this is, you know, when I coach someone, I just know that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, I just love it. Even the content creation and all this creative part and this freedom that you get is just amazing.
Yeah. And like also like creating a YouTube channel, that's been a huge dream of mine like for a long time, and it wasn't until this year I like let myself admit that. So I'm also like, you know, seeing you have your YouTube channel is like inspiring me even more to be like start being more consistent with it, because I have a course I signed up for, but I'm still I feel some resistance, but I know like it's another thing I'm meant to do as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm looking forward. I want to be your subscriber. You need to let me know.
Thank you.
All right. So if you ever end up creating a YouTube channel, I will put that in the description as well. So, yeah. You can look out.
Thank you so much for having me on your channel, and like this is so enjoyable, and I'm really excited to like, I hope like other people watching this are really inspired by our conversation too, and know that whatever dreams you have are like so possible.
Thank you so much for being here, for sharing so much with us. It was really a pleasure. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for staying until the end and for watching our conversation. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found some value in listening to all the insights that Samantha shared with us today. If you would like to support us and if you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to leave a little like, and also go and check out Samantha's Instagram, which I will link in the description box down below. Thank you so much for being part of the Mindspaces community. I am sending you so much love and see you in the next one.